nationally accredited leadership development and well-being coach cum trainer. She has a proven record in the field of coaching, underpinned by evidence-based coaching to have a profound impact on business honchos leading transformation. Currently, she works as consultant coach at the University of Dundee to design and deliver coaching training projects underpinned by the UN Sustainability Developmental Goals. She has also her startup which designs and delivers workshops. Dr. Cinar has successfully designed and managed international, national, multidisciplinary projects underpinned by coaching and change management. This transformational change has been in cross-cultural working environments over the last 11 years. Dr. Cinar has 26 peer-reviewed articles published at international journals, over 40 presentations, and 6 proceedings at the International Congress, along with 8 speeches as invited guest speaker. She has won numerous awards and accolades for her outstanding work, more about which we'll hear from her directly. Welcome to the show, Dr. Ayse Cinar.
Thank you for the great introduction, Pramrai. And thank you everybody for being here. And I would like to first thank for this opportunity. It's a privilege to be here. So let's start. So I'm just curious if...
Okay, we'll start. And it's a privilege. It's a privilege for us to have you on the show. So let's start.
Okay.
Can you tell us about the story behind your resilient leadership and social impact model?
Yes, thank you for asking that question, because it is my privilege to share that. So I'm curious, have you ever looked at the mirror, or have you ever thought in your adult life at least once, I wish I could be stronger. I wish I had the strength to deal with these challenges, then my life will be so different.
Yes, we have.
Yeah. So that I also experienced those feelings and thoughts. That is why I developed this model to support individuals, because my passion has always been to support individuals to unlock and maximize their potential so that they can deal with the challenges in their life better while they are achieving their goals. But a little bit short story about this model. This model started in January 2001, January 15th, when I arrived in Finland to have a research. And actually I did know nobody, no place, and that was my first trip to abroad. But one thing I knew was my passion to have research on how to change behavior so that it can lead to transformation. And my research turned out to an international PhD project that I assessed the non-biological determinants of health and health behavior, both in Turkey and in Finland. And I worked with 900 families. And I showed that there are certain specific determinants of health and health behavior that works regardless of nations, social systems, healthcare systems, for example, self-esteem, self-efficacy. And I'm not going into the details, but then I was invited to the University of Copenhagen for a position, assistant professorship. And I said, okay, that's a great opportunity. So if there are certain determinants, common determinants for health behavior, then how can we change health behavior? How can we affect these health behaviors? And you may ask, why health behavior? Because health behavior is very specific, because it is the most difficult one to change. And it is the one which affects all other types of behavior, such as leadership behavior, employee behavior, and you name it. So it is very specific one. And I was looking for these tools, what is the most effective one to change behavior. And I found that business coaching at that time, I'm talking about 2010s, and yes, business coaching was the thriving one, but there wasn't any coaching for health behavior change or healthcare management. And I said that, okay, that's a challenge, but I accept it. And I trained myself through an colleague who has a who was a master at training coaches, and I got the training about coaching, and then I implemented business coaching to healthcare management, and I worked, and then I designed and executed an international project, again an international project, to assess the impact of coaching on diabetes management via clinical and subjective measures. And I worked and coached almost over 150 patients over 6 months, totally 600 hours, while I was also leading two international teams, and I was negotiating with stakeholders and funding agencies. Long story short, it was finally successfully finalized, and I showed that coaching improves health and health behaviors regardless of national differences. So, for example, it improves blood glucose, reduces the blood glucose at 6%. That was first study in the field, and also it reduced less 30% of stress. These were some of the outcomes, but actually there are 24 changes, significant changes that we published. And then I was invited to University of Dundee, this time to train prisoners as coaches. And I said, okay, that's a great opportunity, because yes, this coaching works, but will it really work in the worst case or in the most challenging situations? As you may guess, prison is the most challenging environment. You can test any research or any model. And I worked with prisoners in the prison for 3 hours. I trained them, I coached them, I supervised them. I was there with the number of prisoners. And then at the end, I showed that yes, this approach works, and we found out similar results to diabetes patients, like it improved healthy lifestyles like physical activity, diet, and reduced stress. And I said, okay, what is it? What is the common driver leading to these changes? Yes, coaching is the approach, but there should be some driving force behind it. And I found out that resilience and agility, these people developed or improved their resilience and agility skills through this coaching approach. And then I said, okay, then I will take this and build into a model that everybody can benefit it. And I developed this 5-stage model where I polished it with my resiliency journey. You may guess that I lived in 3 countries and I experienced many challenges. And I started to deliver this training since 2020 to business. And so far, I'm receiving very good feedback and outcomes. And finally, this year, I got advanced training at mental fitness, and I blended this mental fitness program that is by a Stanford University lecturer, and that comes from a research that is tested among 500K, and it has shown significant improvement at employee engagement, leadership development, at least 30%. So I blended this to with my model, and now I have a modified 5-stage resilience, leadership, and social impact model. That's the story.
Thank you for sharing your story, a fascinating story of how you have evolved over the last couple of decades. And I love that thing when you mentioned that you have experimented this on prisoners, which is helping to helping businesses and business leaders to thrive. And then you made the connection of resilient leadership and employee engagement of well-being.
Mhm.
There are some myths about resilient leadership.
Mhm.
What is your take on this, and what will be the cost of not being resilient? This is in the background of the COVID pandemic that we are going through.
Yeah, the cost of not being resilient will be huge, because if we just look at the figures, unfortunately, these are sad figures, but these are realities of our today. Hundreds of thousands of businesses are closed in each country. And we know that 1/4 of this, or 1/4 of all businesses, are at the risk of being closed now. And the rest, those recovering, will take at least 2 years. It's between 2 and 5 years to recover. It depends on the sector. And there are, of course, ones thriving. And when we look at the ones which are thriving, and also when we look at the ones who thrived during 2009 crisis, there is one common factor, and that is resilience. So it has been also shown by resilience is the key factor for businesses to thrive and to recover. So the cost will be uh, not successfully recover, and then it will be having like one leg, and then at the end the business will fall down. So that is why very important to resilience. But at this point we need to understand that resilience is not only about becoming stronger in terms of acting or thinking as a leader, but also powerfully connecting with others, taking feedback from others, and also supporting and helping others to become resilient leaders. Because when we look at resiliency model, we see three factors at the heart. One is values, the other one is employees, and third one is purpose. If there aren't these three factors, then resiliency will not work. So this is why resiliency is very important.
Thank you for sharing that. And we resonate with you when you say values, employees, and purpose are the three cornerstones on which a resilient leader will thrive.
Mhm,
You talked about employees.
mhm.
Post COVID, what more do you think employers can do to transform employee engagement into a pleasant employee experience?
Mhm. Okay, thank you. That is a very important question. First of all, employers need to create safe spaces, safe and trustworthy spaces for employees, so that they can have powerful conversations with each employee in that environment to understand the challenges of each employee, but not only business related or work related challenges, what's going on in their life, social life, private life. And then from there, understand what they need, what kind of support they need, how they can motivate them. But at the very heart, all employers need to have self leadership or self coaching skills to ask powerful questions like that. How I can help my employees in a best way? How can I better communicate with them? What will be the right questions ask? And so on. But this is totally needs a employee engagement based culture, and it should be part of culture. Because when we talk about COVID-19 unfortunately will not be the last most challenging circumstance we face, because we are living in a complex, volatile environment, and then there will be other situations. So we will need employee engagement and motivation for businesses to survive in this, and always also to recover and thrive in these situations. And therefore this should be part of business culture. But there is a little bit misunderstood point here. The employee engagement doesn't always necessarily lead to employee satisfaction. So in order to have employee engagement turned into employee satisfaction, first, employers need to understand what employee engagement means for each employee, what satisfaction and happiness at workplace mean to each employee. So this needs also very powerful conversations. And these powerful conversations can be facilitated through coaching conversations. And when we look at these Fortune top 500 companies who are thriving even in these challenging times, we see one specific characteristics. All managers or leaders have either coaching skills or either coached by external or internal coach. And this is the success formula behind that. Because why, you may ask, why, what is going on there? Because employees need to first feel appreciated and valued after feeling safe. And then they need to feel part of the big picture. They need to take the co-responsibility of the mission. And then they also need to feel that they are supported by their employers. And also they need to feel secure in terms of, let's say, if they make a failure, or if they lead to a failure, they will not be punished. They will be lead to success. So failure will be not criticism or punishment. But however, for leaders to provide that kind of environment and that kind of growth mindset, again, they need to have a coaching and growth mindset. So that is very important. That is why I'm working with the leaders to have a growth mindset that focuses on not to have uh, only empathy for themselves, but also empathy, active listening, and certain skills to better understand their employees, because engaged employees will lead to dedicated employees, and then that will lead to employee satisfaction if we can feel all the parts, all the needed, required uh, needs and expectations of employees.
That's beautifully put. I like it because it said employees don't quit organizations, employees quit employees.
Mhm,
And its statistics also proves the majority of the employees quit because of the immediate supervisor.
mhm,
And recently I was reading a Gallup survey which said only 35% of the managers are really engaged at work. So
mhm,
if a wide majority of them are not engaged at work, that will not lead to employee satisfaction. So that mindset has to change. And I'm sure
mhm,
with the coaching techniques that you are talking
mhm,
about, that will happen.
mhm. Yeah, I totally agree, because as you said, mindset is very important. But as you said, mindset and growth is very important. And first, there is a need for will to change yourself as a leader. So to be open-minded, and as we know, it is not always easy. First, we need to have a very powerful conversation with ourselves, and we talk about that. Is also leads to another myth about resilience, because resilience is not all about being powerful. It's also being vulnerable, being open to critics, and being open to see your weaknesses. What are my weaknesses? What areas I need to improve? And how can I become better version of myself? But this is all about accepting and open mindset to being vulnerable. And this, of course, needs a certain type of mental strength, but mental strength is also usually misunderstood. Mental strength is also about mental fitness, and it leads how you powerfully act, how you powerfully connect with others, how you also perform better, and also how your health is better. So all mental fitness acts in all these four dimensions, and that is why I mentioned this program I blended from Stanford University works with specifically with this one. Very shortly, I'm sharing each of us has certain saboteurs. We are aware or we are not aware. And by the research, it has been shown that there are 9 saboteurs. I will just share several of them. For example, controller, hyperachiever, or stickler. Let's talk about stickler. Stickler is the perfectionist self, and he or she looks for everything to be perfect. And we know if a leader tries to be perfect at all times, it leads to burnout and also disengagement from employees. Controller, in terms of employee engagement, is the worst one because leader tries to control everything and then every outcome and every person. And hyperachiever, the most common among leaders, tries to always achieve more, achieve more. There is no limit, and it leads to burnout among leaders and their followers. But that doesn't mean that all these people and all of us have bad intentions. We have good intentions, but we are not aware of these saboteurs in our life. So shortly, in mental fitness, that means that we become aware of these saboteurs. And at the moment, we become aware that these saboteurs started to act. And then we give a pause. We train ourselves to recognize and then to give a pause at the moment. And then we move into the positive or sage, and we use these 5 sage powers. And then we become powerful connectors, powerful uh, performance, and then we become also physically and mentally healthy. That's very short way of explaining. I hope
Yes.
it is clear.
Yeah, it is clear because when you mentioned about the stickler, we can go back to our working lives and find that we have also had stickler managers and how difficult it was to manage working with them. You rightly said communication is a skill because that is the mother of all skills.
Mhm,
And empathy is what is really required if you need to get the work done.
mhm,
My next question is based on this.
mhm.
To have a pleasant employee experience, how important is it to have empathetic, active listening from bosses?
Uh, that is one of the core skills, and that is one of the musts, I will say, because active listening, as we all know, is being at the moment with full presence, and then not only listening and what the employee says, but also understanding what all this body gesture says, because an employee can easily say that, oh, I'm doing well, this is going well, but you can see that body gesture says something else. And at that moment, rather than criticizing or asking direct questions like, do you are you okay or are you fine, because whenever you ask are you fine, the answer will be yes, I will be fine, because it is open-ended. And so asking powerful questions like, I feel that something is going on, and could you please share me, or how do you feel? So these open-ended questions and using empathy powers is very important. And if you don't mind, I would like to have a very short exercise so we can also maybe
Please be a
enjoy
guest.
this. But Now I would like to invite all of you to think a moment that you had an experience with an employee or a manager, that you had a very difficult conversation, and then she or he criticized you, or you had a very bad feelings. It can be frustration, it can be sad, it can be feeling upset, whatever it is, negative emotions because of this conversation, because of what the other person actually say to you. If you don't have anything like that, it can be a family relative, that doesn't matter, because it is all about empathy. So is it clear? I just want you to think and feel about that situation for 10 seconds. And okay, now let's take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. And if it is okay, close your eyes. If it is not, it is okay. Don't close your eyes. So take a deep breath in. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. And take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath out. While you are breathing in and breathing out, focus on your belly, moving upwards and downwards, upwards and downwards. Just focus on your breath and your belly movements. Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, and focus on your belly movements upwards and downwards. And now I want you to visualize that specific moment where you are having this kind of feelings because of the other person's behavior, this challenging or conflict situation. And I want you to see that person in his child version. So I want you to see what does that person look like at the age of 5 or between 5 and 8. Imagine as possible with all the hair type, eyes, smiling face, just child self of that person for 10 seconds. So how does he or she look when he was a child? How is she looking? What is she doing? And focus on her face or his face at the moment. And what does she or he say about this situation? What does she mean to or he mean to at that moment? What does he or she trying to tell you? And then ask her, how does she feel at this situation? What is going on? What about her feelings, his feelings? And now again, let's take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. And let's come back to now. And the question is now, how do you see differently this situation? How differently think about and feel about this person? And if you were again in such a situation again, how would you behave differently? What kind of words and what kind of conversation will you have at that time, the next time, and how your feelings will change? So this is all about empathy, and it was a very short practice. We have a longer practice actually about this, but this is about seeing all child self, is about seeing pure self, and everybody in a way in a conflicting situation means something else. So we need to understand what is going on, because behavior or is the reflected one above the iceberg. Actually, this behavior is affected values, beliefs, social norms, and many things under the iceberg. So to be able to see under the iceberg and then to powerfully connect with the other person, we need to have empathy. That is why we are having this exercise. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it was useful.
It was useful. It was useful. It got us back to the child stage wherein a lot of other things, emotions come in. And when you match that with the adult state, what are the things that come up? Thank you for sharing. This is a very, very good, very powerful exercise. And before I go to my next question, which will be the last one before I hand over to Deepak, let's get a bit away from the serious topics. Your work has been recognized with numerous awards. Talk about some that gave you the greatest satisfaction.
Thank you for that question. Actually, I'm a very, I think, humble person. I don't like talking about my awards, but thank you for asking. So I will
We
share.
would like to listen to you.
Because I think I will combine it with the messages that I thought universe or God gave it to me. Uh, so it was in 2004 and I was having my research, PhD research in Helsinki, and I was so frustrated and I felt that, okay, this is going nowhere. And then I will not be successful, so I'm quitting. And I talked with the God because I'm having sometimes conversations, not sometimes now, every day actually. And I say that, okay, show me the sign if I'm on the right track, if I'm following the mission I was born for, if that is the right track, show me the sign if I'm following my mission, my birth mission. And I said, okay, I think there is no sign. And at that time, I applied for L'Oreal UNESCO Women in Science Award, but I wasn't expecting anything. My supervisor just asked me to apply for it because he believed in me. And I wasn't expecting, and I was about to say, okay, bye bye to everything. And suddenly an email popped up and said that, oh, congratulations, you won the L'Oreal UNESCO Woman in Science Award. And that was the first motivator. And actually, it changed my life because I believed more passionately to my mission. I was more powerfully connected to my mission. Of course, I was grateful to God for sending the mission, a sign for that my mission was on the right track. And that was the first one. And other one, it was in 2016, and it was by European Mentoring Coaching Council. And the other one is 100 top coaches given from an Indian Human Resources Association, and it was in Mumbai. And those awards were very unique to me because this research, I mean, the research that led to this research was the international one that I assessed the impact of coaching on diabetes management, that I worked with 150 patients. But it was, as you may guess, so challenging to work in two countries and one-to-one, being a witness to journey of each coachee or each patient. I tried to support and do my best to support, but it took so much energy. And sometimes it was also so, how to say, sad or frustrating to see how they were suffering. And I got more passionate to help them. And all these awards remind me. But I also learned many things from my coaches. I always call coaching is a bilateral journey. Uh, Coach myself and my coachees also learn from each other. And there were points that I again thought that, oh, maybe I should quit because there was no funding and there was no support, but I just pushed myself a little bit. And then that was founded for the first time by International Diabetes Federation in terms of coaching. And that was also one of the first projects supported at the assistant professor level, because it was for higher level positions. That was by Turk Medical Foundation in Denmark, one of top 3 prestige awards or grants. So these awards always reminds me that God, or you can call universe, is always talking with you and then putting you on the right track. If you feel really, really bad and or frustrated and you lost the track, the help comes. So believe in your mission and from the heart, and connect with the God and the others and show this passion to others, then you will achieve great results and achievements.
Yes, very true, very true. You are a very, very accomplished person, and the universe is acknowledging that. So you don't have to be modest about these achievements. Please be proud about it. We are proud to have you with us. Now, Deepak, it's all yours. Please take over.
Thank you, Premraj. What a wonderful discussion we've been having. And there is this special announcement for everyone who is part of this program. Ayse will be doing a special masterclass very soon, exclusively on Bloom. So stay tuned, and she will be here with all of us, giving us a chance to learn more from her experience, from what she's been doing and how she's helping others. It will be a great help to all of us. Coming soon, stay tuned. Thank you, Ayse, for agreeing to do this for Bloom.
Thank you. It's my privilege. Thank you.
I just want to know, how does it feel to be in a prison environment and trying to coach people who've been incarcerated out of society, who've been told, no, you can't do this, you can't be common people, you can't be with the society, you can't be with the general public. How does one coach people like these? How difficult was it, or how easy was it?
May I ask, could you again ask one more time? I couldn't specifically understand.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, okay. I'll go a little short. You said that you have coached prisoners, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yes.
How easy is it to coach prisoners compared to what you do in a normal life?
Okay. Thank you. Now it's clear. It is not easy, and it is challenging to coach people. Actually, prisoners is an example, let's say, for people who don't have any hope for future, who don't know how to set up goals, who don't have any resilience and agility skills. And this is very challenging situation because you have people who can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. So I would like to share how different approach I followed. I actually follow this approach with other coaches, but this is very specific one. When I arrived to the training room, they were all looking downwards and their shoulders were down. And I said, hello, guys. By the way, these were all male prisoners, not female prisoners. So you may assume it's more challenging.
Yes.
And I said, hello, guys. I'm Ayse. I'm a leadership development and well-being coach. However, my professional identity and your past are behind that door. So we will together focus on building your future starting from today. The future you want. Who is in with me? And then they started to look at me, and then they slowly raised their hands. What I got from here, and every day I just spent at least 20 minutes at the beginning to ask how their day was before, what did they learn. So I spent a lot of time. This is the difference. You spend more time with these people to build trust and rapport build bridge. And one thing is very important. You need to, in a way, say that we are all human beings, we are at the same level, and forget
Yes.
about my professional identity. I'm not a teacher, lecturer, or better educated person than you, or better know than you. So you need to totally erase that image from their mind, and you just need to be fully present with your human identity. So with all your empathic skills, active listening skills, and then that people need to feel like employees need to feel valued, respected, no matter what their background is. And also their ideas, thoughts are important. They are not just numbers to train, or they are not some research participants. So they are human beings that are respected. And then I'm there to help and support them. And actually, they don't like the word help. They hate that. You need to be very careful with that word. To support them, or to be a partner or facilitator in their journey. So that is very important, to share powerful conversations and to listen them, and to help them to find solutions to their solutions, and just to facilitate this process. Because if you find solutions for them, then you lose the track, because they don't want that. They just want to find out their solutions, but they just need some support on the way. So these are my insights.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And we all now know what how the workplace has changed. Work from home is happening from the last like 18 months. Employees are not going to office. There are no fixed working times. Has employee engagement in this time suffered? How do you keep these employees engaged, connected, when they are not coming to office, when they are not getting those intervals, coffee breaks, they are not talking with each other? How have things changed?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, things have changed, and that is more challenging to have employees engaged in the workplace, because you can't actually see what's going on in their life. And then also, when you are having virtual conversation, it is very difficult to have active listening, because you can't properly see body gestures and what is going on. And it's easy, for example, I can see smiling now, and on under the table I may do this, feeling very nervous and anxious, and you have no clue, you just see my
Yeah.
smiling face. So
Yes.
that is very challenging. By the way, I'm not doing that. Don't worry. And so it is very important to build safe spaces, virtual safe spaces. And that is why I provided some workshops to the business how to connect with their employees. And one of the points or issues or practices I shared was to have one-to-one informal, let's say 15 or 20 minutes virtual coffee chats, like elevator coffee breaks at regular workplaces, and just talking about what's going on in their life, how do they feel. That is one practice. And the other one practice is whenever they have training or meeting online, having 5 minutes emotional check-in. Not asking how are you today, because how are you today will lead to a very classical response. And how do you feel today? Let's draw your emotions today and share it. And let's talk about your emotions today, what's going on. And that is why building trust and rapport in that environment is very important. And also having employee well-being and engagement champions is very important, because yes, many people prefer working at home, but there is a hidden danger before that, because we are social human beings, and long-term
Yes.
isolation or not connected will lead to definitely burnout. and mental health problems, because we can't survive at working at isolated environments, even though many people prefer that. At the long term, it's not healthy, because hybrid working will be healthy 3 days at home, 2 days at work, or depending on the workplace. But
Yeah.
whatever we do, it is very important to build very trusting environments at the virtual environments,
Yes.
and then understanding the barriers, challenges, having virtual coffee chats, lunch breaks, breakfasts, you name it. So keeping that spirit, but more frequent than you do in the working environments, traditional working environments. For example,
Yes.
also one other method is, for example, during the trainings, this special training, when I'm training the leaders about coaching fundamental skills, that is one training. That's an 8 weeks program. After the 2 weeks, we invite their employees in 6-person pods. And then while we are talking about a specific challenge each week at the work, before that, we say, okay, how was our saboteurs this week? Because everybody knows his own or saboteur, and how did they act? And then one says, let's say my controller was very active, and then I tried to control many things, but at the end I felt like this. And then the other person asks, okay, how could you manage more? How
Mm.
could you manage more effectively this situation? And the person answers, and how about you? So, and then all these people, in a way, in a very safe environment, share very personal thing, their saboteurs, and how to turn these saboteurs into sage power. So this is very, very powerful. So you build a very sage based or positive emotions based culture at workplace. And when you open enough to share your saboteurs, that is the most personal one, then you build an amazing trust and rapport. And then every challenge turns into a gift. So I don't know
Yes.
if it is clear or.
Yes, 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 it is clear. And my next question was a follow up to this question and this answer.
Mhm.
We now understand that employees, even when they are working from home, needs to be engaged. How has life changed for coaches, for mentors? Previously, when you were engaging with people, you were in a room full of people. There were 50, 100, maybe even 200 people.
Mhm.
Everything has shifted online. So
Mhm.
how has life changed for people like you and me?
I think it changed. And at the beginning, it was challenging. But as you know, for people like you and me, challenges are great opportunities to grow and to learn from. And the one-to-one or team coaching, it has changed because, for example, for me, I spent a little bit more time to build trust and rapport, and I talk about their daily life, what is going on, and I'm sharing my stories as well. A little bit longer time. First I share my stories, and then I ask about their stories. Every time short stories, just to warm up, because this is very in my eyes cold space. And
Yes.
you can't directly coach or mentor or train somebody because it's very cold in my eyes. So
Yes.
more time spent on sharing stories and emotional check-ins. And if it is a group, then it is more challenging, and I limit always the number because I believe in capacity. Usually a traditional coaching, I can coach in teams up to 18 people, but I'm limiting this to 10 or 12 in virtual environments. And I use, for example, again, share some stories at the beginning with the group, and then for I increase the number of practices, but I divide, let's say, groups into 3 or 4, and I use breakout rooms, Zoom rooms,
Yes.
And then I personally visit every room, and then I engage with them, I participate with them. And this is how and at the beginning and at the end, there is always feedback. And I use so much online quizzes or open-ended questions through Mentimeter or other
Yes.
applications, and then sometimes having some fun quizzes not related with work, like
Yes.
the animal, the pet you like most, or
Yes.
which would be your animal guidance if that is your mantra, something like that. So this is a lot changed, but you need to be creative, you need to be sometimes fun, and then you need to find out ways to spend more time.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you need to engage and you need to be fun, you need to be different. You spoke on resilience, and this is one question I've always been wanting to ask resilience coaches and who are experts. Is there a resilience breaking point beyond which you can't help anyone? Somebody is broken. You try and make him understand about resilience. Is there a resilience breaking point? Then you say, no, now I can't help you.
There are, thank you. This is a very question on debate. Some coaches says yes, there is a breaking point and we can't coach after a certain point. And if the person is not willing to do, or if the person has a serious trauma or mental disorder, usually coaches don't coach at that point. But my way is different. And there are several coaches like that. If a person is, let's say, I don't like this term, but let's say is broken, have a mental disorder or has a certain trauma, and it is really, it's a breaking point, then I'm on the side of coaching, but only on one condition: if he's also taking a very professional support from a psychologist or mental health practitioner, because coaching is a support mechanism to facilitate solutions. It is not a healing. It is not a treatment. So we can't give the solutions. We can't treat. So I can't say that this coaching will heal you or will provide you the solutions you are. But it is a perfect support mechanism, because why? There is a conflict about this also. Mental health practitioners, psychologists are great, but they are to help to fix the problem. And they fix the problem at that moment. And then they heal the person. Okay, you heal the person. And then what the person will do to move forward, how he will move to the future, how he will be proactive. And at that moment coaches comes into the picture, because healing is not enough. It is like treating a patient. You treat it, but how he will keep his healthy lifestyle
Yes.
to continue to be healthy. In that moment, coaches or mentors come into the picture.
Yes. Very, very well said. I mean, this classification of coach being somebody who will handhold you, who will be by your side. He is not giving you treatment. You have to be fully treated first by that professional, and only then I will help you go to the next level. Extremely well said. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. And I would like now to open up the house. If anyone from the audience would like to ask Ayse any question, please unmute yourself, go ahead, or you could type it on the chat. Naveen has put up a question on the chat. He says, fine, almost all that you do financially rewarding or may amount to almost 50% of the things that you do. Are you out of gratification or goodness to God giving you this gift? I just want to understand this because of the kind of people you've got to work with. Naveen, if you would like to simplify that, you could unmute yourself and ask her directly.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Cinar.
Hi, Naveen.
Hi. The kind of people you worked with, you mentioned prisoners and other people who had psychological problems. I want to know that, are most of these projects, are most of these actions, are they, there for a financial sum of money, or many a times it's just out of sheer goodness to help them?
If I understand your question right, is it for helping or is it for financial awards?
Yeah, how much of it? I mean, we all are coaches, we all work, and that's the source of money. But this particular kind of work that you do, which is psychological in nature, I want to understand, how does it work there?
It is mostly about supporting people, and that is my passion. I believe that my mission in the world to transform lives for a better future. So that is mostly for my passion. It's not for financial reward, because the real reward in my eyes is when you see the transformation in others people's lives journey. That is the real transformation. For example, I observed that when I worked with my prison coaches, I will call, not prisoners, because it was amazing, because at the beginning, very shortly, they had no goals, they had no hope, but after 3 months training, they set up goals like that, saying that, okay, at the beginning, I had no goal, no hope for future, but now I want to support my peers to show that there is a light at the end of the tunnel and they can transform their lives to positive, as I did. So this is a great award for me to see that not only this coaching leads to a transformation in one person, but it also impacts the social environments of the others. That is why, that is the real award for me.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Ayse.
Thank
And
you.
Premraj, Payal, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Ayse, for gracing Bloom
Thank you.
platform. We are looking forward to have your master class on Bloom very soon. Thank you, dear audience, for removing time on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, and looking forward to have you back every Sunday, and stay tuned for our upcoming programs. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Namaste. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend, the rest of the week.
At the outset, I would like to thank all the participants who have joined this show. Thank you, Dr. Ayse Cinar, for a very engaging session. We got insights into a fascinatingly wide range of areas impacting our everyday life. Glad to have you in our midst, someone who shows people there is light at the end of the tunnel. We look forward to having you again in our masterclass. Thank you, and namaste, and God bless.